All right, Ryan. This is the title of my show,
Mhm.
and it is the best chance in 30 years. Best chance in 30 years. That's roughly how long it's been since this organization has won a Super Bowl. There have been some good teams that have been here. I think the teams that were the closest, we talk about the 98 49ers. Garrison Hurst doesn't go down. I still think they have a chance to possibly go to that Super Bowl. And if they get in, anything is possible. Very, very good players over there. We talk about the 2012 Super Bowl run and then those NFC championship runs under Harbaugh, very close. Felt like the 49ers 3 years running were the second best team in the league. They kept losing to the eventual Super Bowl champions. And then you fast forward to the 2019 team. We know how great they were, this close to winning a Super Bowl. And then you've had a couple NFC championship appearances. And maybe this is just me living in the moment, but thinking back to my confidence level of all those teams, I don't think that I've been as confident as I have this year that the 49ers can win a Super Bowl. Because and the last time that I felt like this, I was very young and it was in the 94 season and it was when they won that Super Bowl. Not only because the 49ers are so good. We've seen the 49ers 2019 was a great example of this. 29.9 points a game, top tier offense and scoring, top tier defense and scoring. So we've seen this before very recently from the 49ers where they have a top tier offense and a top tier defense. But it's not just that the 49ers are as good as they are. It's also that I look across the landscape of the league. And when I remove the 49ers, I can't look at a team and honestly say that any of them are good, are good enough to win rings. Who would you pick? Let's remove the 49ers. I'm going to ask you, Ryan. Let's
Yeah.
remove the 49ers. They're not in this league. Who would you pick to win the Super Bowl? And would you have any confidence in that?
No. Who would I pick? I'd pick either the Ravens or the Cowboys, believe it or not, but I wouldn't
Yeah.
have any confidence in either one. No,
Yeah.
there's I mean, the Ravens I still want to see, even though they struggled against the Rams, I still want to see them on Christmas versus us.
Yeah.
I think the Rams have improved throughout the year, and they're better than a lot of people give them credit for. So I'm not gonna.
Matthew Stafford without Cooper Cup hung with the 49ers for quite a while in that game. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's that big of a surprise that happened. So
Right.
I don't know.
Right. Yeah. So I still think the Ravens are a really good team, and we're going to find
Mhm.
out on Christmas just how good. But I think outside of that, I mean, we already smacked the hell out of the Cowboys. Although I will say, I feel like the Cowboys are playing better now too.
I agree.
So, we'll see. But yeah, I mean, to answer your question, there's no one if I had to bet, like gun to my head, Ryan, who's going to win the Super Bowl? Niners. And I'm pretty confident about
You
it.
feel pretty good about that, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I'm
let
gonna
me
make it.
ask you that. Let me ask it in a different way. Let me ask it in a different way. In chat, I want to know your opinion on this, and be real with it. If you had to bet your most prized possession, whatever that is, not like family, right? Like let's not get
Yeah,
crazy with it,
yeah,
or gun to your head or anything crazy like
yeah.
that, but your most prized possession, whether it's your house, your car, memorabilia, whatever that is, whatever you hold near and dear to your heart. Maybe it's your wedding ring, something like that. If I said you could choose the 49ers to win the Super Bowl or the field, you can't choose any other option. It's the field or the 49ers. What are you putting your most prized possession up for? I'm taking the 49ers. And that is not at all. At least I feel in my heart that is not a homer take. I really don't believe. I just think that they are clearly the best team right now. Clearly the best team. So, two things, chat. What are you putting up? What is your prized possession? And are you taking the field or are you taking the 49ers?
I might
I'm
take the
curious to know.
field if you put it that way, if I'm being real, Jess. If you put Niners versus any specific team, I'm probably picking Niners.
Mhm.
But I think if you do field, that opens up the door for what? 9 other teams? At least? Possibility going through?
What if the 49ers get the number 1 seed? Does that change your mind?
Man, I here's what I know. I can tell you this much. If the Niners get the 1 seed, they are absolutely going to the Super Bowl. If the Niners get the 1 seed and they're healthy, zero question that they will end up in the Super Bowl. That much I can guarantee you. So I would be willing to bet a lot for that. I'd give you great odds on that one. If they can get that bye week, get the home field advantage, be healthy, there's no team in the NFL that's going to come to Levi's and knock the 49ers out of the playoffs. Not going to happen. So that much I do know. We'll see what happens in the Super Bowl and who the opponent is. The thing about Lamar Jackson, man, that scares me, and Patrick Mahomes. Honestly, those two guys scare me. I know uh, my stock has went down a little bit from Patrick Mahomes because I didn't like how the way he's reacted. They lost 4 out of the last 6 games. But Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson, either one of those guys could just show up and be Superman for one game. So seeing those guys in the Super Bowl is a little scary because Lamar Jackson can completely take over a game. Patrick Mahomes can completely take over a game. And all they need to do is get there. So those two guys scare me. Outside of that, though, if I'm betting money, I'm betting on the Niners.
Yeah. Is this, I feel like this isn't right, Samir. I feel like CMC and Trent Williams were both first rounders.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they got
Right?
first rounder. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They got first
I could
rounder.
be wrong about that.
BA's first rounder.
BA's a first rounder too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm reading it wrong. I feel
Maybe
like I'm
so.
reading that wrong potentially. I don't know. But
Neither draft nor trade.
I guess I don't know. I look across the landscape of the league and I don't see a good league right now. I just don't. And I see the 49ers, they are very good. This team could compete in many, many years for a Super Bowl, but there's a difference in compete and thinking that they are head and shoulders the best team in the league.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah, I mean they have the. So let's talk about this 2012 team, though.
Yeah.
We're talking about best chance in 30 years.
Yeah.
You're more confident in this team now than you were, coincidentally, when the 49ers went. If this 49ers team plays this year's Ravens, you're more confident in the win than you were when the 49ers played the Ravens in the Super Bowl in 2012.
I think I would probably be pretty even if that's the matchup, just because I remember the Ravens were old and they were banged up.
Mm-hmm.
Ray Lewis had, I think it was a torn bicep or pec.
Something, yeah.
And he just continued to play as if he didn't have that, which, I mean, that ends seasons for everybody. I don't know how he played with that,
Right.
but he was hurt. Suggs was hurt. Reed was old. It was an aging team. It was an aging team. And I felt like the 49ers were the young version of that Ravens squad. And the way Kaepernick had played throughout those playoffs, I mean, Kaepernick, if I remember correctly, had in 3 games had over 1,000 total yards
in the playoffs.
Yeah. 7 touchdowns and 2 turnovers. 7 total touchdowns, 2 turnovers, and over 1,000 total yards. That, talk about a playoff performance or a playoff run. That is asinine. Kaepernick was on his ish that year.
Best player in the league, honestly, that year.
At that time, yeah. I mean,
the most explosive, dynamic.
He was most explosive for sure. And he was playing really, really good during that run. So going into that game, I was very, very confident. And especially because they had that comeback against the Falcons, which made me even more confident. And it had to be done. A lot of it had to be done through the air from Kaepernick, not necessarily his legs, because they kind of bottled them up. So yeah, I mean, I think going into that game, I was very confident. But if you had asked me 4 weeks before the end of the season, I couldn't say that I would have been that confident. They were just making the quarterback change to Kaepernick, although he had played very good in his first game or so. You just didn't know. I mean, you're asking a young quarterback to take over a team that just came off of an NFC championship. What is that going to look like long term? I wouldn't have been that confident 4 weeks prior to the end of the season as I am now.
I think you make fair points there. Yeah, I was confident in the playoffs going into the Super Bowl, like you said, in these 49ers, just because of the way they performed in the
Once
playoffs.
that Packers game happened, it was like, okay, I'm
we
so confident now, right?
Yeah, I was shocked that we lost that Super Bowl. That was like that was the most heartbreaking Super Bowl loss. That was more heartbreaking to me than the Chiefs one was, because that was the first one we've ever lost. I'm showing my kids like, hey kids, all we do is win Super Bowls, and they're little kids and they're watching and no, I guess we do. I guess we lose Super Bowls on occasion as well. So yeah, that was heartbreaking. But yeah, I think you're right on your take there.
Yeah, I have the utmost confidence in this team right now, and when you really look at the season and how it's gone, starting 5-0, they had the 3-game skid, and then they've ran off this what 4, 5 since
Mm,
bye week 4, whatever it is, 5, I don't
yeah.
remember. Either way,
But
I
what about
mean,
this though? Think about it this way though, Jess. I just this popped in my head and I
mhm,
apologize for interrupting, but
yeah, go ahead.
that 2012 team, did they have a weakness? Like this Niners team has a weak
Yeah,
right
I
side.
think they did. I think they
What
did.
was their weakness?
I think their secondary and coverage was a bit of a weakness. They could hit. They could hit. Now they were laying people out with
Was
that
it
that
Carlos
safety
Rogers and
tandem,
Chris Culver, right?
but they weren't the best cover guys. They weren't. I mean, they could be got. So I would
Yeah.
say that secondary, as far as coverage goes, was probably the weakness, I guess.